You mentioned a desire to tackle income inequality and stated that the Commonwealth, we should be support making sure all families make a living wage. If that's the case, why not support requiring companies that get our taxpayer money to pay a living wage?
So I support, thank you. Let me first answer the short question, then the bigger one about what income inequality means. And I appreciate all of you being here today about this important issue. I support the minimum wage. I support indexing. It seems to me that's the minimum you should ask of a gubernatorial candidate. A living wage I support. I mean, I do. The question is, how do I get there? I don't mean to sound too practical about it, but that I want to get the minimum wage without indexing first, right? And this is where we are in this state. Anyone who's worked in state government, and there are not many candidates who have, knows that we want to make the first step being the minimum wage. And I am committed to that. I think it will happen before I'm governor, so I'm hopeful. And it should happen with the indexing. We shouldn't have to debate this every 2 years. This is done. But income inequality is a bigger issue. This is why I say don't let any Democrat just sit here and say I'm for these things and that's it. I mean that's like it's like saying the Democrat saying I'm pro-choice, right? It's like, okay, give us something more. We ought to be pushing for these. The bigger issue is the issue of income inequality, which I view as one about mobility and the government's responsibility to open up access, opportunity, and mobility for all people. I've done that as a litigator. And I would do that as governor. I think mobility is about, as if you follow my plans, about education, about bringing everyone to the table, whether it's immigrants, veterans. I've been a strong voice on both of those as the daughter of an immigrant family, making sure social services work, otherwise the other side questions the validity of social services. We should be madder than everyone else when healthcare websites go down, when DCF does not live up to what we hope it to be, because we want to support the children, we want to support the caseworkers, and we want to push for universal healthcare in ways that matter. And when we can't deliver on these programs, right, it is as bad as if, this is bad, right? It's bad for the narrative. We have to be effective in governing as much as we are in our great policies. That is what 2 presidents and this governor have asked of me, right? Make it work. And we saw that in the BP oil spill when the president asked me to turn that around, or when the governor asked me to oversee multiple agencies during a time when we were transitioning out of the Romney Homeland Security world. So there are a number of instances, but it's about mobility. That's what we're talking, giving people the chance to pivot because the world is changing fast, and unions and minimum wage and workforce development are all important aspects of giving people the capacity to pivot. That's how I view income inequality.
So assume, I think we're all hopeful, and I think will happen that you've taken office in day one, and the minimum wage is now $11 for the state. Why not have our taxpayers lead, our government through our taxpaying money lead the way in having a livable wage of $15? Why not require somebody doing business with the state to do that?
I would be for it. As I said, I would be for it. Part of what you're choosing in the next governor, right, is also someone who has the capacity to move us forward. I have that capacity. I have done that in government, in state and federal government. I will push for higher minimum wage, living wage, call it whatever you want. I want the minimum wage. I see what this progressive governor is going through just to get the minimum wage. It is bogus that we may have to go to did I just say bogus? Yes. Yeah. It's bogus that we may have to go to a ballot initiative to get what this state needs. We know it. So part of this is let's get that and then push for further. I also do think about, here's on. One of the reasons why we don't want to go to 15 right now is because the impact on investments to create jobs and revenue growth, whether it's green banks, whether it's the Maritime Academy, whether it's infrastructure, is not known, right? So part of this is, I'm not going to say, oh, I absolutely want this until I see the economic impacts on our growth. Growth is the most important thing on day one. You can push for more progressive tax, you can do other things, but growth is the most important obligation on day one.